Hello Electroheads, welcome back to the channel. Now I know this is a review that you've all been waiting for. This of course is the ADO Air 20, and if you are a regular then you would have seen the video with me chucking this onto buses, trains and the underground as well to see just how flexible this can be with multimodal commuting. But of course at the end of that video I was like, well, it's not just about multimodal commuting, it's about living with this bike and understanding it and making sure that this is good enough to go onto our online store. So I've been spending a lot of time with the Air 20. I've really gotten to know this bike and I'm going to give you all a really good rundown on what this bike has to offer, where it really shines, where there could be some improvements, and I'll let you decide for yourselves if this could be an option for you. First up, let's talk through the features. The ADO Air 20 is built from an aluminium alloy frame and comes packed with a UK legal 250 watt brushless rear hub motor that looks pretty dinky, but it really packs a punch with 250 watt peak power, 37 Newton meters of torque. It will send you off at the traffic lights and assist you up those hills. This e-bike has a single speed teamed up with a carbon belt drive, which claims to deliver up to 30,000 kilometers of maintenance-free riding. For those of you that wince at single speeds, the inbuilt torque sensor adds a whole other dimension of responsiveness. In terms of real-world range, I will go into that a little bit later in this video, but ADO claims you can squeeze out 100 kilometers in one charge. The Samsung 36-volt 9.6 amp-hour battery, which is neatly hidden in the seat post, is removable, so you can charge on the go and make your bike much less of a target for thieves. Charge time for this one is between 4 to 6 hours. The Air 20 also comes with hydraulic disc brakes, 20 by 1.95 inch pneumatic tyres, front and rear lights, a bell, and an IPX7 rated display, which means it's protected from a heavy downpour of rain. If you want mudguards for those rainier days, you'll need to spec up. Rider height for the ADO Air 20 is between 150 to 200 centimetres, and max rider weight is 120 kilograms. Choose between grey, blue, and my favourite, which I have with me today, ivory. In my previous video on this bike, there was some hot debate about the actual weight of it. So I said it's 16 kg because that was the information that was given to me. However, some people did pipe up to say that that wasn't actually the case. So today I'm gonna properly test it and see what the weight of this bike is. So I've got a little luggage weigher here. So let's put this on. Right, so this is saying 17.8. Okay, so that is actually heavier than what ADO did originally claim. Now, I did go on their website and they have changed that claim to be between 16 to 18 kg, so they've clearly seen the comments and rectified that. I think obviously you have to bear in mind here, I've got like an iPhone holder on here currently. I've also got a kickstand and a singular mudguard. I don't know where the other mudguard's gone. Anyway, that's a different question. So I think bearing in mind with the weights, they're probably going for the most stripped back version of the 16 kg. This is just under 2 kg more. I think in terms of throwing it on and off the buses and tubes and stuff that I did in the previous video, it really hasn't been an issue at all, and carrying it up and down the stairs hasn't been a problem. So I wouldn't let a few kilograms put you off if that is something that's a big question in your mind. First up, I want to talk a little bit about the ride quality, because I've spent a lot of time with this bike, I've gotten to know it, and it really is one of my top choices. So there's really great manoeuvrability, it's a really, really good size in terms of squeezing through traffic. Also, the motor itself is teeny tiny, but it really packs a punch. Because ADO have their own lab, they build their own components, they've really been able to put a lot of R&D into their bikes, and what that has meant is a really lovely bespoke ride. So the ADO Air 20 has 3 different levels of assist. 3 obviously being the highest, and you can put it down to 0. And even in level 1, you get a lovely little boost. It's sort of like a nice gentle background. All right, so I'm gonna push off in level 1 assist, and it just gives me this lovely background push. Okay, we're hitting a hill now, so I'm gonna put it up into level 3. And right now, it really is just carrying all the weight. This little motor is just working really hard, making an easy effort of this. Now, this is a torque sensor as well, so if I put more in, it goes even faster. So look, we're easily up to 25 kilometers. Unlike some bikes that will limit you to a specific speed at a specific level of assist, the combo of assist and a responsive torque sensor will communicate with one another to get you up to the speed that you need to be. The amount of resistance is the only thing that's different. One thing I would say about spending a lot of time with this bike is I would change the saddle. Now, if you have seen my video about how uncomfortable saddles can be, then check that video out. After this one, I'll pop the link above. So yeah, I would just personalize the saddle up myself. But in terms of being a little bit more off terrain, on the grass, the bike handles really well. Again, having that torque sensor means that It just responds. If you want to push a little bit harder, it will go a little bit harder. And these wheels, they've got some really good grip to them as well. Lots of bumps and potholes means you want to stop pedaling and put your weight in your legs rather than the saddle. ADO do now offer front suspension, which I think in the long run is a no-brainer for spending an extra 129 quid. Whilst researching and developing the Air 20, ADO have definitely kept in mind adding a more flexible tyre so that should you need to push past tarmac, you can do that. And obviously if it rains, it has better tread than say a standard road folding bike. So this is really important. Flexibility is a big thing for ADO. Speaking of flexibility, let's talk about the folding aspect. You'll be pleased to hear that folding this electric bike is very quick and easy. I did a whole video on this, but rest assured it's a really good one for taking on and off transport as well as storage. The ADO Air folds down to a teensy 880 by 360 by 610 millimeters when folded down. So you can chuck this easily into the back of your car, somewhere in your flat, or you can put it under your desk at work. It's a really good one to fold up and store away. Whilst I've been using this bike daily, I've had no problem with being able to leave it at my mate's house because it's so compact and convenient. So for example, I went over to my friend's house in Peckham a couple of nights ago. She's a super cool DJ, so I was taking some promo stills for her. So I didn't want to leave it outside on the streets just because, you know, it's a beautiful looking bike. So I asked if I could pop it into her house for storage. And as you can see here, it fits no problem. I think that's a really big thing with electric bikes is the fear of them being stolen. So being able to have something like this that can fold down, can be put pretty much anywhere, means that that security issue is definitely lessened, if not solved. So one thing I have noticed about the Air 20 that has been missing in the time that I've been using it is when you want to fold the bike down and roll it along with the handy walk assist feature, which again features in my last video. When you're rolling it along, sometimes the wheels will come separate from each other, so the bike will sort of not know which direction it's going. So what I would recommend doing is getting a magnetic clip. Thankfully ADO have resolved this issue and they've released a magnetic clip, so you don't have to have that problem anymore, thank goodness. So if you are interested in this bike, it is a little extra cost, but it's well worth it if you're going to be rolling it around. Newsflash everybody, I have finally killed the battery of the ADO Air 20. So I'm just going to report back the numbers that I've totted up and tell you exactly the range that I was able to manage out of it. First up, a little bit more information on myself and my rides. So I weigh about 64 kilograms. I have been riding on the max level of assist, which is level 3. I've been riding on pretty flat terrain. There have been hills, which I've been going both up and down. And in terms of temperature, it's been about 25 degrees Celsius. So that does mean that the battery is going to be performing better than, say, if it was in winter. And so overall, I managed to get 60 kilometers of range, so just under 40 miles. Now, ADO claim that the Air 20 can deliver up to 100 kilometers of range. Now, I think that this is probably achievable if you're the weight of like a horse jockey that just eats peas for dinner. But bearing in mind, I was in level 3, and I think if I was riding in level 1 or 2, I would definitely get closer to that 3-digit range claim. Right, you guys, I've found a suitable hill in London, by the way, which is kind of hard to do, which I'm gonna put this bike up now so you can see how it performs. Sorry, I've also just realized I've been wearing sunglasses this whole time. They're actually Hindsight glasses. So these have some really cool mirrors in the sides of each lens, which means I can actually see behind me whilst I'm cycling along, which makes such a difference and makes me feel so safe. And that's really important because I've had a fair few incidents of people coming up the back of me way too close, which is super dangerous. So anyway, if you want to find out more, I will drop a link down in the description below. I use these every single day. They have changed my world. So I need to wear these, so apologies if you can't really see my eyes that much. Hello. Okay, let's take on this hill. Okay, so I'm in level 3 assist. There is a bit more work obviously going into this right now, but as you can see, not out of breath. I can feel my glutes are activating a little bit. I'm going at about 19 kilometers per hour. This hill is fairly steep. As it gets steeper, I'm putting a bit more work in, and I think that torque sensor is responding as is. Sometimes if, of course, you have a cadence sensor, if you just pedal, it will just do the work for you, but with the torque sensor, it responds to how much you're pushing down. So on a hill, you will be pushing down with a little bit less power, I find. So in some ways, cadence can be better for taking hills. So that was absolutely fine. A little bit out of breath, but hey, with cycling, whether it's electric or analog, there should be a little bit of work that goes into it as well. How is this for a hill demo? So I've come all the way over to Richmond Park, and you can see right here that I am starting to approach a pretty steep hill, much steeper than the one I just tested earlier. There is a lad in Lycra in front of me, and as you can see, we're picking up a bit of incline. We're getting a little bit slower. The Lycra lad in front of me is starting to have to suddenly really step up, get out of his seat, really put the push through his legs. And I'm just sat down the whole time. Bearing in mind, I'm matching his pace. But it just goes to show, with electric bikes, it's not all about being faster. It's not that at all, because actually so many Lycra lads zoom past me every day on my commute to work. It's more about giving you that freedom, that ability to take on those hills that you would look at before on your analog bike and think, oh God, I don't want to do that. It changes the game. I'm very chuffed with that. For any of you watching right now who are thinking about making the switch, specifically if you commute in a car, this is your sign to do so. I mean, look, I am just flying through congested traffic right now. This could be you. It's been well over 30 days of testing this bike, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, this is one of the best electric folder single speed bikes I have ever ridden. It's an absolute joy to ride, and I think you get a lot for the price tag that it's at. It is piddly in itself, so it's really great for getting through traffic. It's got a punchy motor, it folds down really easily, it's super quick, it's really, really easy to handle, it's got really resilient tyres, it's got that carbon belt drive, you've got removable battery in the seat post. There's so much here that you can't really argue with, and it's just under £1,500 if you add on the mud guards and front suspension as well. I think that's a really, really good price. This bike, I know, is just going to cater to a lot of people that live in the city, that want to get onto different modes of transport, that want to get away at the weekends and chuck their bike in the back of a car. And there is a new bike that ADO have just recently released that has just arrived in the studio today, so come with me. By the way, this is the 10-way Seago 600 Pro. I am going to do a review on that, so keep your eyes peeled. But this, my friends, is the ADO Beast, and as you can see, it is much chunkier. It really reminds me of like the Mate bikes. I haven't actually ridden this yet because we have just built this, so let me know down in the comments if you want me to do a review on this one. But I mean, look at it, look at those tyres. They are girthy, they are absolutely huge. They're going to be soaking up all the potholes in the road. You've got that front suspension here at the front. I'm super excited to try this one. But look, ADO in general, they're clearly making a lovely array of electric bikes to cater all different kinds of needs. So I would say if you are keen, if you're interested, come on down to the studio if you do live in the area. Make sure to come test ride them, see what you think. Well, that's me done, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review today. And if you have any more questions about this bike in particular, then make sure to drop it down in the comments below, and I will try my best to answer those for you. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you did find this at all useful, please make sure to hit that like button, because it's going to get this video out to more people like yourselves who want to see this information. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you for the next one.